The month of August is better known in South Africa as Women's Month. Now, this is the case after the South African government declared it so in honor of more than 2,000 women who marched to the Union buildings in Pretoria in August 9th, 1965. Now, in honor of this, we've decided to dedicate this review or our reviews for the month of August to content that has been produced by women for women. So in light of this, we kick off this month's review with Nqobile, which is a new drama series on Mzansi magic. I can't stay. In Nqobile, we are introduced to Nqobile, played by Nqobile Khumalo. How funny is that? So Nqobile suffers domestic abuse at the hands of her husband, and she now finds herself in a position where she gets to challenge this abuse, and she inherits her husband's family business, essentially. What are your thoughts so far on the first 3 or 2 episodes of it?
It's interesting. I find it quite interesting. But, well, I think for me personally, the whole domestic violence or GBV, however you want to name it or classify it, it's a bit overplayed, you know. This show for me is a bit of a missed opportunity where we need to know exactly what happens in the e-hailing services. The e-hailing services is a predominantly male-owned industry or male-run industry, so it would have been a great opportunity, instead of focusing on the domestic violence, focus on a young woman who's pioneering her way through this entire industry, you know. Yes, there will be marital challenges, but that does not mean that we need not focus on the whole masculinity in a specific industry. You know, it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot, but for me, that's how I feel. That let's learn some more about e-hailing and the violence which is there, but we don't really see it. It's very subtle in its own senses, you know. But
I get that. I get that. I don't 100% obviously agree with him, because I can understand the way that they're introducing us into this industry. I mean, we're only 3 episodes in, so my expectation or my impression is that we're then going to really unpack, you know, this industry. Well, I'm hoping that we're going to unpack this industry, and it doesn't just become something that's just in the backdrop, and then we're focusing very much on the relationship that Nqobile has with her husband, Simo. So again, it's also a very important introduction into this, you know, because it is really about a woman who's taken back her power. You know, her domestic situation is one that oppresses her and instills within her a kind of belief that she isn't capable of doing anything, first outside of her husband, but also doing anything to empower herself. And it's ironic because she then participates in, I guess, support groups, in a support group that is about empowering women and encouraging them to leave their situation or to fight back. So I see it as having been very important as far as setting a foundation that gives us an idea of what will be the driving force for her to like catapult herself. She's fighting 2 different situations, and also it's a reality, you know, for some women, you know, in today's society. You know, it's not just fighting patriarchy outside of home, but also within the home there are struggles as well, you know. So it's quite interesting, you know, when you look at it. I can get maybe your dissatisfaction with it focusing on you know, women abuse. For me, it was triggering, so I think it should come with a trigger warning. You know, it's quite triggering to see. It wasn't like explicit, but it was so much that you could really like turn off the TV. Yeah, you know, it was a bit uncomfortable to watch. But again, that's our reality. You know, we should be confronted by how uncomfortable it is. that this is an experience for so many women in our society, so maybe that discomfort could be what would make somebody go, can we just focus on the e-hailing, but also it's like, it's just part of the package.
Yeah.
It's part of the package.
Also part of the reason why I say let's focus on that, because it's a leadership test. It's like contestation terrain, Yes, people go through personal struggles. Like, I'm shying away from GBV or domestic violence because that's one reality we can't really run away from, and it's always there. But there's also other challenges which people have to be aware of. At the same time, we can't be sitting back and reveling in the fact that people are going through a certain challenges morally or emotionally, Yes, you have that, but let's also look at things that are building, where people's resilience is tested and it's built. And for a leader to emerge, that's where you need to go through certain challenges. I think that's where I would love for it to pretty much take its power from, instead of just, let's look at the victimhood and we build a person out of victimhood. I don't want that. Personally, I feel like it's being overplayed now. Let's look at building people out of testing resilience and challenging them through things which are realistically, there's so much subtleties around them.
I guess we'll see, because this is still very prevalent in our society today.
Yes.
We can't run away from it just because we feel uncomfortable and we feel like we should be focusing on other things that are more empowering. Because when we do that, then we're really...
it's an injustice.
I wouldn't say injustice, maybe that's the word we can use, but I would say then we become a society that just doesn't want to confront issues just because it's hectic, But I think, maybe we can go into the cast themselves, I've been quite excited by the cast, especially to see Nqobile in a lead role. I really enjoy her on Scandal, and I also saw a bit of her on The Herd, and to just see her being a lead character, and she's just like knocking it out the park for me. In those moments where she has to be vulnerable, she's very real in those moments. I kind of forget that she's actually acting. legit. And I think also her husband, Kagiso Modupe, who plays her husband, Simo, I despise that man. I have to remind myself that, okay, this is not Kagiso, this is just his character, but he plays the villain very well as well. What do you think about the cast, and the characters that they've been put into as well, because we have legends on our screens.
You're like, I looked at it and I feel kind of starstruck when I'm watching it. You have the likes of Lillian Dube.
Oh my gosh, as a Black Widow.
That woman kills every character which she portrays. You have your Nomzamo. Hey, we haven't seen her in a long time. I believe we haven't seen her in a long time, and she plays the widower so well. But in any case, what do you think of the visuals? Is it compelling? Is it...
I think, yes, definitely, especially in those moments where we experience, the violent nature, Simo's violent nature, and just the amount of hatred that he really has for his wife. In those moments where he's like getting physical with her, it really, oh my gosh, it really does get to the way, the kind of message that they're really trying to portray, about his violent nature, and just really reminding us of, throwing in our faces, the reality of abuse, especially also us being able to see how fearful Nqobile is, and that's representative of the fear that exists, really, that is instilled in a lot of women who keep quiet about domestic violence.
I want to look into Black Widow.
Okay.
Black Widow, well, she's also a survivor of domestic violence, you know.
That
and
was really like,
hers
that was
is
a
like
nugget.
hectic,
Yeah.
you know, and losing her eye. Like, ooh, guys,
Like how
like,
insane.
It's insane. And when she exposed her eye, when she was looking for a child, and in the support group, the lady who's running the support group, when she was talking to her and asking about her daughter, she literally gave her a very stern warning to say, if you don't give me my daughter, you all know who I am. And she didn't need to say much. I literally felt it in my veins when she exposed her eye and wiped it. I was like, okay, mama,
And you know, it's quite...
That's how for me it was.
Yeah, and I think it's like Nqobile is really quite beautiful because we're seeing how these women, you know, yes, they've gone through, and Nqobile is still going through this very tough reality at home, and just how they have to draw strength from somewhere, you know, and show up in the world and show up more powerful than they've been made to feel at home.
With that being said, you know, I like the fact that moving away from the visuals, you know, I just like how the fact that leadership, especially when like Nqobile comes across Black Widow in passing, and yes, that being said, she moves all the way to the office, and I just love the fact that when she took the decision to take over as CEO, like it exposes how being a leader is not really about where you come from or how you react to certain situations, but the decisions, the importance of decision making. But overall, how many Biltong sticks would you give it?
I'll give it a 3 because again, we're only 3 episodes in, you know, we're yet to really see what's going on, but so far, yeah, I think definitely from me, just, you know, them introducing us to Nqobile and the dynamic of the Nkosi family, and, you know, the company as well, what they're doing. It's so different, you know, to see a black family, you know, that is influential in their own right. How many would you rate it?
Overall, for the kind of dynamics in the story, I would give it a 3.5.
You really had to think about that.
Yeah, I would.
Why did you have to think about it?
I would have to give it a 3.5. You know, one, yes, they introduced the dynamics around the different story characters, the different storylines within which they have in the series. So that I just, if they had given us something which connects them, you know, Black Widow, I can't wait till I see her play a more prominent role, you know, the lady running the support group, I can't wait till I see her playing a more prominent role, but they just dwelled a bit too much. I mean, it's a 13-part series, so it doesn't give a lot of episodes for them to play around, you know, and already they've dwelt too much on the domestic violence. Hence, I would give it a 3.5. Hence, I had to think about it. It's a great story, but because they dwelt too much on one part of the story, it's, for me, it's a bit of a drag, you know. So that's why I would give it a 3.5.
Okay. So overall, Nqobile from us gets 3.5 Biltong sticks. So if you've been watching Nqobile, if you've been keeping up with it every week, do let us know what you actually think about it so far. Leave us a comment in the comment section down below.
And if there's a South African series, film or documentary, or if there's one that you know about which is produced by an African in the diaspora, let us know in the comments. I'm Gomo.
And I'm Dimi. And this is the Biltong Review. Thanks for watching.